Yamaha drums here?
I used to.
Yeah, right on.
First drum set I had was Yamaha.
Amazing how those things hold up, right?
I don't have it no more. That was a long
Oh,
time
didn't
ago.
hold up? Greg?
7 years ago.
So I was with Drum Workshop for a very long time. I'll just tell you my story. I was with Pearl at the very beginning of my career. I did Look What the Cat Dragged In tour and all that stuff. And finally, after Pearl sent me 2 kits when I was overseas that were in the shape of an eggshell, I kind of went, somebody in your shipping department is smoking the #1 crop out of California. So, anyway, I got so frustrated, my drum tech said to me, he goes, why don't we just make a kit? I'm like, make a kit? You can't. I said, yeah, you can. He goes, we're gonna go out to Drum Workshop. They do the best job with shells. At that time they were doing Keller shells, they were doing the edges, they were taking everybody's kit and hypercharging them. And I said, what company is that? He goes, well, it was John Good, and he went out with Jonathan Moffett and all these people. And I said, oh, okay, I think I've heard about him. What was the band, Men at Work, right?
Yeah.
Sounded amazing live. I saw him in Harrisburg City Island. That drum sound was incredible. It was John Good. And I went, oh my God. When I said that to him, he said, yeah, right. Like he thought I was bullshitting him. I said, no, really. So Tony said, look, what we'll do is we'll do their shells, and the best drum hardware out there is Yamaha. We'll put Yamaha hardware on it. We'll make our own stuff. I'm like, okay, Rockett Moon drums. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. His last name was Moon. Or Moon Rockett, either way. So we went out to DW, and they let me play a couple kits, and they said, we're making these, so I went with them. I was their #5 endorsee, only rock guy. So I was with them for almost 30 years in some capacity, even when I was making my own drums. And I really liked their stuff, but I noticed things had been changing gradually, and I'm not here to say bad things about Drum Workshop, and I will not. But I noticed things had been changing over there, and the attitude even towards some of the artists, not from the A&R department, but just as the company in general. So they did their big 50th anniversary, and I was nowhere to be found anywhere, not on a piece of literature, nothing. And I went, you know what, I think my time is done here. I think we did a great job together, and we partnered really well for a long time. And then I didn't think I'd really end up anywhere. I thought maybe I'll go back to making stuff. I gotta play. Where was I? Yeah, so I started, so Mike Fasano, you know Mike, I met Mike out on the Warrant tour when he played drums for Warrant. And I said, Mike, I don't know what to do, man. And he said, I want you to call my buddy Greg over at Yamaha. He goes, #1, I think you're gonna love the guy. And I said, I've never played Yamaha stuff. I've always thought it was, I've been in a million recording studios in the United States of America, and every time I go in, there's a Yamaha kit set up somewhere. He goes, that's because those recording kits work. At any time you have a kit, you bring it into the studio, and you can't make it work, they pull out their Yamaha recording kit, and the shit works. And I said, yeah, you're right about that. So I gave Greg a call, and he said, come on out, let's play some drums, see what you think. And, and that was it, man. I said, oh my God, why have I been missing this so long? When I did a deep dive into how they make stuff, it really, really changed. And because I'm full-on American. I love American products. When I was making my own drums, everything was 100% American except for the tension rods. And so I never really considered going with a company that was made overseas. But because my theory is you go to Asian countries typically because you want it cheaper, not better. But that's not always the case. I'll wear a Swiss watch because They make better watches than everybody else, right? Are the Japanese and the Chinese starting to make better drums than Americans? In some cases they are. Because if you look at a lot of the American drums these days, they're going over to China to do it anyway, most of the hardware. With the exception of Noble and Cooley and a couple of them and stuff. And I'm just being transparent and honest about all this stuff. So I decided to abandon that reasoning for the reasoning of what is working and why it works so well. And the Yamaha has perfected the art of making like the perfect shell. When they make those laminates, most drum companies have an expanding metal thingy with springs, and it goes out of alignment after a while. DW's done a good job of aligning and cooling them down quickly. But Yamaha went a long time ago, we're going to take the vacuum bagging idea and reverse it and expand it inside. So every crevice of that is glued up tight so it doesn't move. So it's consistent. And I'm a guy that I'm all about consistency because I want to be able to fly to Siberia and set up a Yamaha kit and it sound like the kit here, because then I know what I'm getting. I'm not going to sit around all day tuning and tuning and tuning, trying to figure out the sweet spot and everything. There's something magical about all that too, but when you're a touring musician, you just need to frickin' get it done. You really do. You need to rely on stuff. This stuff is workhorse. It's reliable. This is a recording kit, recording custom. It's birch. Birch is a great rock sounding wood. It's a little bit of a shorter note. It doesn't sit there and, right? And these, if you notice, this hardware is longer and all connected, so it kind of compresses the sound, which is why it works so well in recording studios. They've got a bunch of other stuff too. I have a live oak kit, and the center ply is phenolic, which is a impregnated cardboard essentially, which cardboard is wood. So, and when it's all mashed together, it keeps everything consistent. So they can actually go with somewhat of a thinner shell, which is a fundamentally lower pitch, but it retains the shape and it is consistent and it doesn't fart out when you hit it, basically. You go too thin and it's just like taking a speaker and overdriving it. You go too thick and it's, so it's always trying to find that right balance, right? And Yamaha figured it out. I mean, they just simply figured it out. I'm proud to play it. I love the stuff. I wound up buying a vintage 69 kit. It's on my channel, the Poison Drummer, where I did Venus because I thought maybe that song came out around that same time. I did a cover of that. I love that vintage kit. It's just so it's held up since 1969. I think it sounds amazing. It's really, really cool. So there's that. I've been a Sabian guy for about 12 years now. I'm very proud Sabian rep. By the way, I don't get paid for any of this stuff, okay? I play this stuff because I want to play it. I don't need to make money on endorsements. I make money with Poison, and I don't need to do it with saying I like this and it not be something I like. I just, yeah. There's a lot of good cymbals out there. I mean, Zojan's great, Peiste's great, Sabian, really great. This is the Neil Peart line, which is the Paragon stuff that he did a couple years before he passed away. And it's really super consistent. It's a similar metal to what Peiste uses now. And it's, if I break an 18 and grab another 18, it's almost not noticeable that you can tell the difference, which I think is great. Now they have other cymbals in their line that are a little more moody, that an 18 might sound different than another 18, and so you can get your sound that way too. But for cymbals, again, consistency. I'm wanting to set this kit set up, and this is pretty much the setup I have at home, except I'm using the live oak right now. We wanted to try the recording stuff to see what it sounds like in a little theater. I think it sounds bitchin'. Does it sound all right to you guys? I heard it play it earlier. I walked out. It sounded really good. So I've been using Aquarian heads for a while. I was a Remo endorsee for 18 years. And when I was building drums, everybody kept requesting Aquarian, Aquarian, Aquarian. And so I kept working with Aquarian, and they finally said, why don't you use our stuff? I said, because my band wants me to use stuff that people will give me for free. Just see what they would say about that, right? I said, you don't do that, because I know Joey Kramer pays for stuff. He goes, no, he doesn't. He did, but he doesn't now. And you wouldn't have to either, if you want to try out our stuff and you really honestly like it. And I said, well, I do like it, because I've been putting it on my drums, and I like it. And he said, okay. So I walked away from an 18-year relationship with Remo. And I still have a lot of respect and love for Remo products, don't get me wrong. But I do like the relationship. It's very family-oriented over at Aquarian. There's a handful of people running that whole business. And it's really cool. So then I'm going to move on to sticks for a second, too, because I said I promise I wouldn't bore you guys.